Aragorn, son of Arathorn, last of the Dunedain, and the final heir to an ancient, nearly broken line. His ancestry is not merely royal, it's a legacy intertwined with the oldest stories of Middle-earth, beginning not with Isildur or Elendil, but with the first awakening of men in the distant east. To understand Aragorn's destiny, we must follow his bloodline back through the shadows of time, where the history of men, elves, and the divine Valar converge. In the very first age of the world, during the years of the trees, before the rise of the sun and moon, men awoke in Hildorien, a mysterious region far to the east. They were the younger race, following the awakening of elves, who had already begun to spread westward. Eru Ilúvatar, the creator of Arda, called men the Afterborn, and gave them a unique gift, mortality and free will. This gift of men distinguished them from the immortal elves, granting men a fate even the wise could not predict. The awakening of men went unnoticed by the Valar at first, and in this period of vulnerability, some men fell prey to the influence of Morgoth, the first Dark Lord, who sought to corrupt their hearts. But not all succumbed. Some men remained untainted and eventually journeyed westward, seeking to leave behind the darkness and the fear of Morgoth's shadow. As men journeyed west, they encountered the elves of Beleriand and allied themselves with them in the wars of Beleriand against Morgoth. Among these noble-hearted men were three houses who became known as the Edain: the House of Beor, the House of Heleth, and the House of Hador. They were honored by the elves for their bravery, loyalty, and willingness to fight alongside them. These houses would become the forefathers of the Númenorians, who would eventually bring forth the line of Elendil and Aragorn. Notably, the House of Hador was famed for its warriors, and the House of Beor for its wisdom. Through countless generations, these traits would shape Númenor's might and wisdom, characteristics Aragorn himself would come to embody. After Morgoth's defeat in the First Age, the Valar sought to reward the Edain for their loyalty and sacrifices. They raised a great island from the sea, Númenor, and granted it to these faithful men. Elros, the half-elven son of Eärendil, and Elwing, and brother to Elrond, chose mortality and became Númenor's first king, taking the title Elros Tar Menyatar. This marked the beginning of a line of kings blessed with extended life, wisdom, and strength. The Númenorians, descendants of the Edain, were granted lifespans far beyond ordinary men, as well as a deep connection to the sea and a profound thirst for knowledge. Over the centuries, Númenor grew powerful and prosperous, and under Elros's descendants, it became a beacon of culture, strength, and beauty. But as the centuries passed, Númenor's people became prideful. They envied the immortal elves and sought to defy their own mortality, which they came to see as a curse rather than a gift. Sauron, the lieutenant of Morgoth, who had survived his master's defeat, seized this moment of vulnerability. Captured and brought to Númenor by Ar-Pharazôn, the last king, Sauron gradually poisoned the minds of the Númenorians, leading them to rebel against the Valar and attempt to seize eternal life. In their pride, the Númenorians raised an armada to invade the Undying Lands, seeking immortality. This act of rebellion brought about the island's doom. Eru Ilúvatar himself intervened, sinking Númenor into the depths of the sea. Only a few faithful Númenorians, led by Elendil and his sons, escaped and carried with them relics of Númenor, including the White Tree and the shards of Narsil. Elendil and his sons, Isildur and Anarion, arrived on the shores of Middle-earth, establishing the realms of Gondor in the south and Arnor in the north. They were now the leaders of the Dúnedain, descendants of Númenor, bearing the cultural and historical legacy of the Lost Island. They built cities and fortified them, striving to maintain the honor and wisdom of their people, while also defending against the resurgent darkness of Sauron. However, the bond between Gondor and Arnor grew weaker over time. With the loss of kingship in Arnor, the northern kingdom fell into ruin, and the Dúnedain became wandering rangers, preserving the old ways in secret. In the south, Gondor continued to thrive, but was plagued by wars and strife, and eventually its own line of kings also faltered. Isildur, Elendil's son, was meant to destroy the One Ring after Sauron's defeat, but chose to keep it, a decision that haunted his bloodline. He was slain soon after, and the ring was lost, beginning an era where the heirs of Isildur lived in secrecy and isolation, carrying the burden of his choice. Meanwhile, in Gondor, the line of Anarion also came to an end, and the rule of the realm passed to the stewards. The line of kings remained unbroken only in the north, where Aragorn would eventually be born as the last of Isildur's heirs, destined to redeem his ancestors' mistake and reunite the kingdoms of men. Aragorn was born with the weight of his ancestry heavy upon him. Raised in Rivendell by Elrond, he learned of his true lineage only when he came of age. Named Elisar the Elfstone by prophecy, he grew into a man of strength, wisdom, and humility. He spent years wandering, guarding Middle-earth against Sauron's forces as a ranger and a protector of the free peoples. Unlike the Númenorians, who once sought power and immortality, Aragorn embraced humility, living among his people and defending them in secret. His connection to Elros's line, the blood of Elendil, and his life among the elves made him uniquely suited to rule with wisdom and compassion. Aragorn's journey to reclaim the throne is more than a story of royal succession. It is a story of Númenor's redemption and a fulfillment of the promise that men, though mortal and often fallible, could rise above their failings. His reign brought healing to Middle-earth, uniting the ancient legacies of elves, men, and Númenor. Through Aragorn, the ancient line of Elros was reborn. He did not merely reclaim a throne, he restored an age-old legacy, bringing peace and prosperity to Middle-earth. In him, the wisdom of Númenor, the valor of the Edain, and the humility of a ranger united to forge a new beginning. Thank you for joining us in this deep journey into the legacy of Aragorn, a character who stands as a testament to the resilience and hope of men in Tolkien's world. For more in-depth lore and hidden stories of Middle-earth, don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay with us for our next exploration.